Welcome to a new episode of Ain't Got Time to Read, the place where I read a story, give you a breakdown of the plot, and simply save you time. Now, before we continue, here is your spoiler alert. If you have not read the story I'm about to discuss and you do plan to read it, then you may want to avoid this video or watch it at a later date. So that being said, let's dig into the plot of today's story. The Marvel run of Robocop stories ran for a total of 23 issues. These stories took place between the Robocop 2 movie and Robocop 3. In this video I will go over the main plot points of this run of the comics. Robocop stumbles upon a street gang attacking a man. Robocop intervenes and the men open fire on Robocop. As Robocop takes out the criminals, a man is hid in the shadows and records Robocop in action for combat data. Once Robocop has dispatched as many of the criminals as he can, he finds an ID card on the injured man indicating that he is an ex-combat fighter. As his only lead, Robocop investigates further and has the name King as a lead. It turns out that King was the one recording Robocop's combat data. He tries to sell it to Nyxcops for their Nyxcop technology, but they take the data and do not pay him. Robocop finds King at the wrestling ring and questions him. King panics and attempts to run and heads into the wrestling ring. Robocop dispatches the 4 wrestlers that attack him and catches King. Mr. Darkstone, the head of Nyxcops, watches King get arrested on TV, and out of fear of being caught, he has his Nyxcops activated before all of the preliminary tests have been completed. The Nyxcops block the road from their vehicles. Robocop is not able to stop in time, and the Nyxcops accuse Robocop of being a criminal as he has damaged their car. Robocop warns them to surrender. The Nyxcops attack Robocop and he takes severe damage. He tries his best to lead the Nyxcops away from King, but ends up getting a civilian killed. Robocop instantly begins to blame himself for the civilian's death. Robocop uses a cleaner drone to escape from the Nyxcops and is far too damaged to fight back anymore. The Nyxcops take King into their custody. He attempts to stop them, but they shock him into submission. While hanging from the cleaner drone, Robocop spots a crime in progress and drops onto the criminal's vehicle. He prevents the criminals from escaping, but the crash damages him even further. Officer Lewis finds him moments later and calls for backup and repairs. King is taken to Mr. Darkstone and questioned about how much he told Robocop. When Mr. Darkstone is told that 2 of his Nyxcops have been severely damaged, Mr. Darkstone tells them that they have a new volunteer and they begin cutting up King to make him a Nyxcop. The old man greenlights the repairs on Robocop, but tells Laszlo that they will no longer be wasting their time on the ED-209 program. Laszlo is not happy about this and calls a man named Scarface and sets a plan in motion. When Robocop is repaired, he refuses to wake up through feeling guilty over the death of an innocent. Lewis arrests a man only to realise that it is a trap and she is held hostage. When the old man is talking to Johnson about Lewis's kidnap, Robocop wakes up and leaves to rescue his partner. The ED-209s that Laszlo has sent to rescue Lewis order the criminals to let Lewis go. The criminals quickly realise that they have been set up by Scarface. 4 Nyxcops arrive on the scene and tell the ED-209s to stop. Robocop arrives just as the Nyxcops and ED-209s open fire on each other. Robocop uses a data spike and takes over control of one of the ED-209s. Lewis uses the fight outside to her advantage and pushes 2 of the men out of the window. The remaining one threatens Lewis, but Robocop shoots at the ceiling, causing the man to fall through the floor. Robocop is in pursuit of 3 thieves that have committed a robbery from the Dreamer armour. Robocop kills 2 of them, but the 3rd one gets away. The survivor takes the 4 memory tapes that he stole to Joe Pizza, who then throws the thief out of his hover vehicle and kills him. Joe Pizza is working for a man named Cybex. Robocop speaks to the manager of the Dreamer armour and finds out that the Dreamer armour records people's dreams and then other people pay to experience those dreams. He tells Robocop that he is unsure about whose dreams were stolen, but he knows that there were 4 tapes stolen. The old man has a board meeting with the other men whose memory tapes have been stolen. It is revealed that both Laszlo and Darkstone were fired for their previous actions, and the old man believes that Cybex may be responsible for stealing the memory tapes. After the call has ended, it is revealed that Darkstone was not fired and he is still experimenting on King. The old man tells Robocop that Cybex tried to sell his Dreamer armor and other patents for $1 billion, but the small print of his contract meant that his ideas were not his to sell. Outraged, Cybex lashed out and fell out of a window, causing himself serious harm. Cybex blackmails one of the executives, named Fodor, and using new technology makes him experience his own dreams as if they are reality. Robocop arrives and uses his data spike to free Fodor from his hypnotic suggestion. Cybex attempts to electrocute Robocop, but it doesn't affect them too much, and he gets the general location where Cybex is situated. Fodor does not survive and dies. Robocop follows his lead to Cybex and is attacked by a robotic gorilla, which is in fact Robocop's prototype, before Alex Murphy became the human used in the program. Robocop loses as his systems are compromised, and he is unaware that the robotically altered King has followed him. Cybex uses the Dreamer armor technology to see what his dreams are, which are quite simple. He wishes to be a man again. Cybex calls the old man and uses his hypnotic technology to put the old man into a trance. Cybex is unaware that King is behind him, but before he can kill Cybex, he is attacked by the robotic gorillas. King is flung across the room, allowing Cybex and Joe Pizza to escape. It also frees Robocop from the Dreamer armor technology. Robocop mimics Cybex's voice and brings the old man out of his trance safely. Robocop is attacked by Joe Pizza, but Robocop deals with him swiftly, but then Cybex critically injures Robocop. King fires at Cybex, but his robotics are damaged, causing him to miss the shot and cause an explosion that buries Robocop and Cybex in rubble. With the last of his energy, Robocop knocks out King and prevents him from killing Cybex. Robocop is reprogrammed and is unaware of his new directives. He is sent to Algeria to infiltrate a secret Arab base and kidnap General Abu Dara. The plane that is transporting Robocop is attacked, so Robocop dives out of the plane. He continues on foot and is attacked by a bunch of men riding vehicles called gyro riders. He dispatches the men easily and manages to get close to General Abu Dara. Robocop recognises instantly that it is actually a decoy and he destroys it. He is then captured by General Abu Dara, but to Robocop's surprise the general lets him go. General Abu Dara shows Robocop that they are not the enemy and that they are trying to fix the food issue in their country, but the water companies will not help them to achieve this. They quickly realise that Robocop was just a distraction and his intent was to lower their defences. Robocop fights his programming and offers to help. Al-Zook and his military unit attack Robocop. Al-Zook gets the upper hand, but General Abu Dara's Hawk helps Robocop by blinding Al-Zook, allowing Robocop to take him out. As General Abu Dara is attacked, Robocop is also attacked by a militarized ED-209. Robocop manages to defeat it and manages to find a radio that allows him to get through to the old man before they trigger Robocop's self-detonation sequence. The old man stops the attack on General Abu Dara by coming to an arrangement to provide the general with the water needed to fix their country's famine. The old man has Robocop brought back to Detroit where he belongs. Robocop battles against some dinosaurs as he investigates the sabotage at a dinosaur theme park. Robocop finds out who sabotaged the park, but he gets away. The culprit is named Dogbite, and Robocop is unaware that he works for Darkstone. Robocop and Lewis are then caught up in a gang war between the Urban Curs and the Psychoids. They take out the criminals, but Lewis lets one of the Urban Curs gang members named Einstein go as she sees potential in him. When a man is being mugged, a vigilante named General Power takes out the criminals. Once he is finished, Robocop attempts to arrest him for breaking the law. General Power puts up a fight, but Robocop beats him. When Robocop takes General Power to the police station, the room is filled with vigilantes which are all following a trend started by a reality TV series of a vigilante taking crime into his own hands named the Detroit Vigilante. One of the vigilantes wielding a chainsaw attacks Robocop, but he disarms the man. To Robocop's surprise, all of the vigilantes are fined and released. Robocop stops the Detroit Vigilante's car and tells him to stop encouraging other people to become vigilantes. A youth named Dink is frequently tormented by the urban curs, and Robocop witnesses him being pursued into a road and getting run over. Dink dies and Robocop pursues the urban curs and kills them. When Robocop returns to Dink's body, he finds the boy's father is distraught. Criminals begin to dress up like vigilantes to give victims a false sense of security before robbing them. Robocop watches and follows Dink's dad, who has decided to become a vigilante. He starts killing a gang of urban curs, but Robocop puts a stop to his actions. Worried that the remaining urban curs will kill Dink's dad, Robocop has no choice but to arrest him and keep him in his car as he heads to another call. Two vigilante criminals attack and rob the urban vigilante. A vigilante calling himself Sewerman witnesses the robbery and fires off a flare that all the other vigilantes see. They quickly come to the urban vigilante's aid, and the criminals and vigilantes begin to kill each other. When Robocop arrives, he is attacked by one of the vigilantes. While Robocop is preoccupied, Dink's dad gets out of the police car and grabs a rocket launcher. Robocop shoots him, but he is too late, and Dink's dad fires off a rocket. The urban vigilante is caught in the explosion, as well as several other vigilantes. A man named Daniel O'Hara is turned into a machine after being killed by Robocop. He kills the scientists that worked for and implanted his memory into the machine and goes in search of Robocop. Robocop responds to O'Hara attacking other officers and confronts O'Hara. They are both critically injured during the fight, but in the last-ditch attempt, Robocop uses his data spike and transfers the memories of his own murder into the memory bank of O'Hara, and he cannot handle it and ends up dying. When Robocop saves a young boy from being blown up, Robocop is asked by the boy if he will find his father that has been kidnapped. Robocop follows the trail to a place called Purgatory, which is a part of Old Detroit which is not part of OCP's jurisdiction, meaning that crime is rampant in Purgatory. Robocop enters and fights his programming. He is attacked by several criminals and kills them, and then follows his new information, believing that the criminals are dealing in black market organs. Robocop is surprised to find that they have a factory that is attempting to build more Robocops. Officer Lewis is given strict orders that she is not allowed to enter Purgatory and help Robocop. She agrees that as an officer she has no jurisdiction, so she takes off her police uniform and enters as a civilian. Robocop fights his way through the factory and is eventually attacked by an ED-209. A professor named Homer Thiel has been forced into the line of work but has conflicting views, helps Robocop and destroys ED-209. Another cyborg named Corporal Flack is sent into Purgatory to put a stop to Robocop's involvement. Homer Thiel warns Robocop that he has saved the boy's father, but if he continues, Robocop could die. Robocop goes ahead and ends up fighting Corporal Flack. Corporal Flack gets the upper hand, but Homer Thiel saves Robocop and crashes into Corporal Flack. With his attention now on Thiel, Robocop is able to defeat Corporal Flack. Johnson reveals to Robocop that he is the man responsible and asks Robocop to see it from his point of view. Robocop doesn't agree with his methods, so Johnson presses Robocop's auto-destruct button. Professor Thiel refuses to leave Robocop as his detonator begins to count down. With the help of Robocop, they tear open Robocop's stomach chassis, and Professor Thiel manages to remove the bomb and throws it. Johnson watches as the bomb explodes, but is disappointed to see that Robocop has not been destroyed. Johnson attempts to escape, but Robocop shoots out his tyres, causing him to crash. Johnson then attempts to escape on foot. Robocop enters the factory and is attacked by the newly manufactured Robocops. As they have no humanity like Alex Murphy does, they end up following their written directives to the point where they attempt to subdue Johnson. One of the Robocops blows up the factory, and when the original Robocop, Alex Murphy, asks why he has done that, he does not respond. But Robocop understands and watches as he walks into the fire. When the old man arrives, he asks who the unconscious Corporal Flack is, and when he is told that Johnson promised him a Robocop body, the old man tells them to grant his wish. Lewis attacks the old man as he tries to cover up the factory, but Robocop tells her to stop, and tells her that he has recorded enough evidence. The old man bargains with Robocop, agreeing to free him from OCP control and shut down the Robocop program, while providing the police department with funding for new equipment. When a man robs a bank, he believes that he is in the Wild West and is killed by Robocop. As the man has no priors, Lewis feels like this case is suspicious. She finds that along with 5 other people involved in crimes, the man was implanted with new technology that allows television to be transmitted directly into their brain. When Robocop and Lewis investigate the television studio, Robocop receives transmissions that cause him to have hallucinations. Lewis and Robocop are attacked by people being controlled by the TV transmitters. Robocop then has to fight visions of his family. He does manage to realise that it is not reality. He is confronted by a man that has had a TV placed on his head of his own free will. Robocop is unhappy with him and beats him for the inconvenience and the lives that have been lost due to his crimes. Lewis receives a visit from her ex-husband Dale, who she had believed was dead. Lewis is forced to hand over confidential information to save his life, and Robocop witnesses her handing over the documents. He is not happy about what he sees, but he does trust Lewis, and just as he suspected, she did have a plan. A flashbang goes off and creates a diversion. Robocop helps with the attack, but Earl is killed in the process, and the Wraith gets away. After a strange man that does not talk is brought into the police station, some police officers begin to act aggressively. Robocop returns to the police station and finds everybody has gone mad and becomes angry himself and starts attacking everybody. Robocop manages to take control of his actions and stops himself from causing any more harm to anyone. While Robocop is fighting off the mind bomb's effects, Robocop's wife and son are kidnapped. Robocop manages to reach the interrogation room and ends up burning the strange man to death to stop everybody from losing control. When everybody calms down, Lewis tells Robocop that his wife and child have been kidnapped. Robocop lashes out at the old man, believing that the old man is responsible for the kidnapping of Robocop's wife and child. When Robocop accepts that the old man is not involved and leaves, the old man begins talking to a mysterious figure and begins plotting against Robocop. During an arrest, Lewis gets angry with Robocop after he refuses to connect online and she is almost killed. Robocop's targeting systems and other utilities are inaccessible when he is offline, and that's why Lewis was put in danger. The police investigate a room full of men that have been murdered. One survivor tells them that Robocop is the one responsible. Following a lead on his kidnapped wife and child, Robocop pursues a murderer that is dressed up like Jack the Ripper. The man gets the better of Robocop, but he activates his targeting systems, which allows Robocop to kill the man before he can hurt Robocop. They find that he was murdering people as part of a game that a room full of businessmen had been playing. The men are arrested, but Lewis realises that they have arrested 6 men involved, but there are 7 chairs at the table, indicating that one man may have got away. Robocop accepts that he needs to go back online if he is going to save his wife and child. Robocop takes down one of Detroit's most known criminals that has his hands in any crime in the city. Refusing to speak to Robocop, he leaves him hanging in a freezer and intends on returning in an hour while Robocop follows other leads. Somebody else enters the freezer, gets the information about Robocop's wife and son, and kills the man. Robocop pursues another lead only to find that it is a waste of time. When he leaves, Robocop finds the old man outside. The old man tells Robocop that his wife and child have been kidnapped because the president of South Africa will land soon and Robocop will be forced to kill him. Robocop uses the resources offered to him and heads off to save them. While Robocop is pursuing his wife and son, Lewis is told about the room full of dead bodies and the man hung up and murdered, and that Robocop is the #1 suspect. Robocop is attacked by Azza, who is the man responsible for kidnapping Robocop's wife and son. Robocop convinces Azza that he is no longer Alex Murphy and that kidnapping Alex Murphy's wife and son would not have worked because he is just a machine. Robocop stops Azza and saves his wife and child, continuing to have them believe that he is just a machine and that Alex Murphy is dead. Robocop is then attacked by Flack, who now has a body similar to Robocop's and is the one that has been framing Robocop. Robocop puts up a fight and eventually ends up victorious. Once Robocop has defeated Flack, the story ends with Robocop standing victorious. Even though there are several loose plot threads, this is where the story ends for the Marvel run. We don't know what happens to Robocop after being framed, and the introduction of several villains that were clearly going to be used in later storylines are not used. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video.